Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to build a background remover, an image background remover, alright, using the React.js. But before we jump right into the project, I just want to show you what we are going to be building. I want to demonstrate it. Alright, so this is just how the interface is going to look like, because it's going to be a very simple application. Like I said, the purpose of the application is just to remove the background of an image. That's all. Alright, so it's going to look very simple. Alright, so as you can see on the screen, we have just one button where you select an image. So the first thing you do, the user does when he comes to the website, is to click on this button and select an image from his computer. So I'm going to select this first image that I have right here, and then come here and open the image. So you see that image displays here, and then I have a button down here that says upload image. So I'm going to click on the upload image. So you can see it is scanning the image. The image is being scanned. The image is being scanned. Oh wow, we have it here. So we have this image. You can see the background is being removed, and then we have a button that says download the image. Alright, so if I click on the download image, you observe that it just downloaded. So I'm going to open this image because we're going to view it. So I will click here, double click. Yeah, it's opening. Let's see what it look like. Alright, so I'm going to expand this. So you see we have an image here that doesn't have any background, so the background is being removed. This is what we're going to be building in this project. Like I said, it's just a very simple project. Alright, before we jump right into the project, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please, I want to beg you, subscribe to my channel. That is how you support me in bringing more React projects. Alright, please don't forget to like and share this video. Okay, so guys, let's get started. So I headed over to our VS Code. I just installed or created a new app using the Create React app. And if you don't know how to create React application, what you will need to do is to open your command line, open your CMD, and then you can navigate to the folder where you want to create the application. For instance, let's say you want to create your React application in your desktop. You can cd desktop, and then inside the desktop you will run npx create react app, and then followed by the app name. In this case, we might say bg remover. All right, and then you run the application. It's going to install React in your desktop. Now I'm not going to run this because I already have this installed. I already have this created. All right, I already have it created. But this is how you can achieve and get to this level that I am here in the project. Okay, so I'm not going to do this. And then if you run that successfully and you're able to create your application, you will discover that you have files. But we're going to be paying attention to this src, and in your app.js you will see a lot of things inside the app.js, but you can clean it up like mine. I just clean it up. I just remove all the importation and then other things that were inside of this application. You can see I removed everything. If you go to index.css, there's nothing inside of index.css. So you can quickly install, quickly create your application, and then in your app.js you just clean it up. Make sure you just have exactly what I have on the screen, and you will go to your index.css. You also make sure that you have nothing inside of it. So we just cleaned it up a bit. So another thing you will do is to go to your public and then go to index.html, and you can change the title of the web page to background remover or whatever you want to name your application. Okay, I think that's basically what that's all you're going to have. So from here we will proceed. All right, since I said this is going to be a very simple application, we are not going to be creating components for this application. So what we are going to do is inside the source folder here, I'm going to create a folder and I'm going to call it images. This will hold all our images. All right, so and I'm going to this is going to hold all our images for this project. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I will go over to the terminal. I'll open a new terminal, and inside the new terminal, waiting for it to come up. Inside the terminal, I'm going to say start with a dot. Okay, and I'll press my enter keyword. That is going to open a folder. It's going to open this project folder. So I'm going to have it right here. This is the project folder, and inside the source, I'm going to open the source folder. You can see the images that we created. So I'm going to open the images. Then I will go to my desktop. Right inside my desktop here, this is the project folder and this is my desktop. So inside these assets, I have I have these images that we're going to use for the project. All right, so what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to rename this. Instead of naming it assets images, let me name it assets. I think that would be the best. Or I can get rid of the images folder, and then I'm going to drag and drop these assets into the SRC. So I just want it to be assets. Okay, so we head over to our VS Code again, and here you can see the assets folder, and these are the images that we're going to be using for this project. So I will come here. I want to start the React application. So what I'm going to do here, let me clean this up a bit first, then I will say start npm start. All right, so that's going to start my React application. So you can see BG remover at this day. So we are waiting for it to start our development server. So this is how you start your development server. It's still running. We hang on for a while and wait for it to. All right, so it's starting the development server. You can see it's starting the development server. Oh, straight to the browser. All right, still loading. All right, our application just loaded. Okay, so on the screen you can see we do not have anything displaying on the screen, but if I hover over here, you see background remover as the title of the page. So let's go back here, and we're going to open our app.js. all right, so inside the app.js, I'm going to just say what am I going to write here? Let me say this is the page, just for testing purposes. So I will go over here and let me refresh this and see if we have that. Oh yeah, we have this. This is the page. All right, so we are on on the right page. Okay, let's head over to our VS Code. So I'm going to get rid of this because we do not need it. I'll get rid of this. So the first thing we are going to do is to get the HTML structure first. Then from the HTML structure we proceed to the CSS, and then from the CSS we can now add the interactivity. Okay, so this is how we're going to go about it. So we're going to be starting with the first one, which is the HTML structure. So the first thing we're going to do is that we're going to have a label. So I'm gonna call the label tag label and HTML4. I'm going to minimize this because I don't want it to keep running. So for HTML4, we're gonna call it original image img, and then we're going to add a class name to it, a class name. I'm going to call it original label. Okay, so we're going to close this up. So inside of this label, we're going to have an input tag, and this is the tag we're going to use to select new images. So, and the type is going to be file. We're going to have the type to be file, and then it's going to accept, we just want it to accept only image. All right, we don't want it to accept other data types, so it's going to be image of all type. All right, and then after that we want to add an ID to it. So the ID is going to be original img. Now the HTML4, this for attribute, the value of the for attribute should also be exactly the same thing with the ID of this input field. All right, because we're going to make this input field hidden. All right, so and then after the ID, what else are we going to do? Okay, after the ID, okay, we're not going to hide this image yet. We're going to leave it like this. All right, but we're not going to hide the input field for now, but later we're going to do that. So if I go back to the web browser, you see we have, you know, just an input field. So we head over to this place. So the next thing we're going to do is that we're going to add an image. So we put an image tag img, and then img, we're going to give it it's going to have source. All right, for source, now this source is going to be empty for now, and after the source we're going to give it a class name, and it's going to have a class name of upload img. We're just going to give it this is going to be a general class. And after the image, we're going to have select. We're going to say select. Sorry, we're gonna let's put it inside the expand tag. So we're going to say select an image. All right. So select an image, and if we go over to our browser, you see how it looks like. All right. So let's proceed. The next thing we're going to do is to import this image right here. We're going to import the image, and let's go right over here, and we're going to say import. We're going to call it img icon from. We're going to import it from the assets folder, and then we're going to call it img icon. All right, so we'll come right here and include the img icon. Okay, so save that. We'll go over to our browser, and this is how this looks like. It doesn't really make sense for now, but never worry, we're going to style it and make it look nice. All right, so after this, the next thing we're going to do is to we're going to hide this input field. Now if I click on this select, if I click here, it's going to open up this dialog box to allow me select an image. All right, so if I do this, you're going to see the image. Now if I click also on this image, the same thing is going to happen. All right, exactly the same thing is going to happen. And also if I click on this text, the same thing is going to happen. All right, it's going to open the dialog box. Now the reason is because all of these are being wrapped inside of the label tag, this label. All right, and then this label is referring to the input tag right here. So this means that even if the input tag here is hidden, whenever we click on this label, we'll be able to open up a dialog box that will allow us to select an image from our computer or from our device. So for that, we're going to hide this input tag, because this doesn't really look nice. We just want to have the image and they select an image text. All right, we don't want to have this. We want to hide this default and use this. All right, so what we're going to do now is that we're going to come here and we will use the style attribute. So we're going to say style, so style, and we want to say display, and then we're going to set the display to none. Okay, so we don't want the input tag to, so you can see the input tag disappears. It's no longer here. All right, so let's head over to our browser, sorry, to our VS Code. All right, so after the input after the input tag, we're going to add an error message. All right, so this is where we will display any error. In case there's an error message, we want to display it here. So we're going to use the p tag and we're going to call it error. All right, the p tag, we're going to call it error. Oh, what's going on? Okay, let me just say p, and then let me say error message. I mean, this is going to be dynamic, so we're going to add a class name to it, and then the class name is just going to be error. I mean, that's all. So after this, we're going to add a wrapper. So we're going to call it wrapper. We're gonna insert a div. Then the div is going to have a class name of wrapper. So we're gonna say class name, and then we're gonna call it wrapper. Okay, so inside of the wrapper, we're going to add another div. We're gonna add another div, and the div is going to have a class name also. I'm going to give it a class name, and the class name we're going to give it is the original, because this is going to be the left side, the original img wrapper. Okay, so inside of the original img wrapper, we're going to add an img tag. All right, img tag, and then we're going to have a source. For now, the source is going to be empty, and then we're going to add an alternate keyword or text, an alternate text. So we're going to call it preview. All right, so this is going to be preview, and okay, that's going to be all for the image, where we're going to use an image for here, but for now it's going to just be like this. I'm going to load, we're going to load an image to it. So after that, we're going to add a loading state. You know, when you click on upload, we want something like a scanner, you know, a scanner on the image. So we're going to call it loading. So the loading is going to it's going to be a div. All right, we're going to say div, and we're going to give it a class name. For now, let's add a text loading, but we're going to remove the text. So here we add a class name, and the class name is going to be loading. All right, so this will show if it's on a loading state. So if the loading is set to true, then we're going to have this bar. If not, we're going to hide it. All right, so when we send a request to the back, when we send a request to an API, we want the loading state to show us, all right, something is happening in the background. Instead of leaving the user nothing, so we just use the scanner effect to show the user that something is going on in the background, and that they should just hang on. All right, so after this, we're going to add a button, and so for the button, we're gonna add a button here, and then inside of the button, before the inside, let's add a class to it. Before we add the text inside, let's add a class to it. So we can say class name. So the class name is going to be btn. All right, and then inside of the side of the button, we want to add a text to it, and the text is going to be an image and also a text. So what I'm saying is that we're going to add both an image and text inside inside of the button, so we're going to say img, and then we're going to refer to a source, and after the source we want to add a class name also to it so that we can be able to style the image. So we're going to use the same class, upload img, even though this is okay, it's for uploading actually. So that's going to be all for that, and we're going to add amper and non-breakable space. All right, we just want to create a non-breakable space between the image and then this text, upload image. Let's change this to I, capital letter I, so upload image. All right, so this is what we're going to have, but here we're going to import an image that we're going to include in this place. So let's import the image. So we're going to import upload img, or do we use icon? Yeah, let's use icon. From, we want to look into the assets folder, and then we're gonna find the upload img, then we'll come right here and change this to upload img. All right, so if we head over to our browser, so you see what it looks like. What is upload img is not defined. Okay, let me just refresh this. That should fix it. Upload img, let me see why upload img. Oh, we used upload icon, so I'm going to change this to icon. Yeah, that should fix the problem. All right, so this is what it looks like, but we are not done yet. Let's head over to our VS Code. All right, so after the image we are going to have another div. Now after the original wrapper here, after this original wrapper, we're going to create another div right here. So we're going to say div, we're going to add another div. Okay, let me just give one space, give another div, and then this div we're going to add a class name, and then the class name is going to be preview. So this one is going to preview. This is where we're going to display the image with a transparent background. All right, so we're going to call it preview img wrapper, and then inside the preview img wrapper we're going to add an image tag. So we will say img, and we're going to add a source attribute to it because we want to know where it's coming from. But for now we're going to leave this empty, and then we're going to add an alternate text. So the alternate text is going to be processed. This is the image that has been processed, so we're going to call it a processed image. Sorry, processed, just processed. Okay, so that's going to be all for this also, and then we're going to close it up. And after that we're going to add a download button. So we're going to say we're going to use an anchor tag. So we're going to call the a, and then the href. The href is going to, I removed the a. So the href is going to be the full image URL. All right, so we're going to leave it empty, and then we're going to add the download attribute. So the download attribute, we're going to leave it empty. We're going to add all these values later. Okay, and then we're going to add a class name to this. So the class name is going to be btn, so it's going to be a btn. So after the class name we're going to close up this the opening tag. So in between this we're going to add an image. We're going to say img, and then the source is going to be a download image. All right, we're going to add a class name to it also. The class name is going to be the upload img. This is just a class name. I know this is a download button, but this is the upload img, just original class name. We can just use it or change it, but for now let's stay with it. But in your project you can change it to anything you want. And we're going to close this up, and after this we're going to add also a non-breakable space, and then we're going to add download image. All right, so this is going to allow the user to download the image. Okay, after this let's import the download icon. So we can say import download icon from yeah, that's from. So we're gonna look into the assets folder, and then we're gonna say download icon. All right, so we'll come down here. What's going on? We come down here for the download, and then we're going to add download icon. All right, let's head over to our browser to see what it looks like. Okay, so you can see what we have already. I mean, it doesn't make sense, everything just looked all right, but we will get it fixed with a CSS. All right, so I think at this point we are okay. We're going to go with all the HTML. I think this is all we need. All right, this is all we need for the HTML, I guess. Yeah, if we're missing anything, then we're going to add it later, but for now I think this is all we need for the HTML. So we're going to head over to the CSS, but before we do that, we have to import the CSS file. All right, so we're going to go over here, and then we want to say import dot index.css. all right, because they are in the same folder. This is the index.css. so we can hold down our control and click on this. This will take us straight to the index. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a formatting, or sorry, resetting. We're going to reset all the tags. So the star means all. We're selecting all the elements. So we want to set all the padding to be 0, and we're going to set all the margin to be 0, and then we want the box sizing, sorry, not box shadow, box sizing. Wait, what's going on? Box sizing. So it's gonna be border box. All right, border box. Okay. So after that, what we're going to start, this app. If you come over here, you see this class name app. All right, we're gonna style it. So we'll come here and say app. All right, we want the height to be 100 view height, and we want the width to be also 100 view width. What else do we want to do? Let's add the padding. All right, padding, let's say padding of 20 pixels top and bottom, and 10% left and right. And also we want the overflow X to be hidden. All right, so that's gonna be all for the app for the app. So the next thing we're going to style is, let's go over to what else are we going to style here? Okay, let's style the wrapper here. This is the wrapper. So we're going to move over here, and then we want to say the wrapper. So for the wrapper, we want to display it to be flex. We want to align our terms to the center, and we want to justify the content to be spaced between, and then also we want the height. We want the height to be about 85 view height. Okay, so let's go over to our browser and see what it looks like. Okay, so this is what we have so far. Okay, that is good. And after that, we're going to, after the wrapper, we're going to style. Let's go and see what we're going to style. So we're going to start this original IMG wrapper and the and this preview IMG wrapper. All right, so let's head over to our CSS file. There's the CSS, and we're going to say preview IMG wrapper, and then comma, we'll say original IMG wrapper. All right, so right inside here, what we're going to do is we want the position to be relative. We'll say position to be relative. We want the display to be flex. We want to align the items to the center. We want to justify contents to also be center. We want the flex basis to be about 48%. All right, so the remaining 2% is going to be the space between the two tags. So we're going to say this 48%, And after that, we want to add a border to be 1px solid CCC. That's going to be the color code CCC. And after that, we want to what else do we want to do? We want to add border radius. Let's add border radius to it. The border radius is going to be about 20px. Let's have an overflow. So overflow to be hidden. I'm going to set the overflow to be hidden, and then we want the height to be 100%. All right, the height is going to be 100%. So let's head over to our browser and see what we have. Okay, so this is what we have so far. All right, then after that we're going to style this, the original. Let's copy this class name, we bring it down here, and we're going to add some styling today. So what we're going to simply do here is we want the background to what am I typing? We want the background to be equal to black. All right, so let's just say black. If I go over to the browser, so you can see that this background is black. All right, so that's what we wanted to do for that. So the next thing we're going to style is the preview, this one here, the preview. So we're going to copy it, and then we'll come down here, and for the preview we're going to add a background image. We're going to say background image. So we're going to use the URL, and inside of this we're going to look into our assets folder, and inside the assets folder we want to look into transparent the transparent img. So let's head over to our browser. So alright, so this is what we have. Okay, alright, so I think this makes sense. After that we're going to add one class. Let's add background repeat. We don't want it to repeat, though it's not repeating. Background repeat. So we're gonna say no repeat. Go head over to our browser. Okay, it's not repeating, and then it looks like this. It was repeating. All right, I think we can leave it repeating, or we can add a background. We can add background size to be cover. We just want it to cover everywhere. So let's head over. All right, looks like this. So either we leave it like this way, or we will remove these two and allow it to repeat, Okay, but for now I think we can just leave it to repeat. I mean, it looks more nice like this. Okay, you hardly notice the repeating. You hardly notice the repeating. So okay, so we're gonna leave it to be repeating. All right, so it's gonna be repeating. Okay, so the next thing we're going to style is let's open this and let's see what we can style next. Okay, we've styled the wrapper. Now let's style the image, this image inside of this wrapper, this image. So this is what we're going to style next. So we will go over to our here, and then I'm going to paste this one. That is a preview wrapper, and then I'm also going to copy, I'm just going to copy these two, both the preview wrapper and the original img wrapper. So I'm going to paste both here. What did I do? I didn't copy it correctly. So I'll go right here and then copy this, the two of them, and then I will come here and I will paste this. Okay, and then I'm having two previews. That's incorrect. I'm going to remove this one, and right here I'm going to say img, because we're selecting the image inside of that. So for the image, we just want the height to be 100%. I mean, that's all we need to do right there. We just want the height to be 100%. So we go over to our app.js again. We're going to start this the loading state. This is what we're going to we're going to start next. So I'm going to go over to my style.css, sorry, index.css. I was just saying style.css. So I'm going to say look into the original wrapper, and inside the original wrapper you're going to look for the loading class for me. Select it. So the first thing we're going to do is the position. The position is going to be absolute. We want the position to be absolute. We want the width to be 100%. We want the height to also be 100%. We want the top to be 0. So the top is going to be 0, and after that we want opacity to be 0.8, not 0.9. And after opacity 0.8, we want to add the background to it. So for the background, we're going to use the linear gradient, and for the linear gradient, we're going to say to bottom, because we don't want it to flow from left to right. Right, so it's going to be to bottom. We're going to use RGB A, and then we're going to add 255. We're going to say 255, and then for the opacity is going to be 0.1, and after that we're going to add it's going to start from 0%, and at 0%, and then we're going to add another RGBA. And for the RGBA, this we're going to have 255, 255, and then the last is going to be 0.5, and this is going to be at 50%. All right, I'm going to add the 50% right here. 50%. We'll add another comma. So the last one is going to be like the first. So we're going to copy this one, the first one here, and we're going to copy it, come over here and paste it. But the difference is going to be, this is not going to be at 0% anymore, but this is going to be at 100%. So we're going to add here 100%. So I'm going to save that. Let's head over to our browser and see if we have. All right, so we have it right here in our browser, so you can see that. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to add an animation to this. We want it to flow from top to bottom, top to bottom, and also we're having loading here, so we're going to remove this loading. It's not supposed to be there. Okay, so let's finish up with this first. We're going to add, after this we're going to create an animation. All right, we're going to create an animation, but let's add the animation. So we're going to say animation. For animation, the animation name is going to be scan, and the animation duration is going to be 2 seconds. We're going to add the linear, and we want it to be infinite. We want it to continue. We don't want it to stop, so it's going to be infinite. So what we're going to do next is to define the animation. So we're going to use the keyframe. We're going to say add keyframe, and then the identifier is going to be the scan, which is the same name. So this is animation name, and you can see scan here and scan here, so it should be the same. All right, so what we're going to do is simple. We're going to start from 0%. We can say from toe, from to toe. All right, so but here we're going to use from 0%, and then at 0% we want the top to be minus 100%. All right, and then at 100%, we want the top to be 100%. This is minus and this is 100%. Now another thing you can do here is you can remove from 0. You can just use from. You can just use from, and then you can add here 2. You can do this and it still makes sense, and it will still work. So from either way will work, but I just want to stick with from 0%. All right, there's 0%, and then here I'm gonna use 100%. Okay, so let's go to our web browser and see if that is working or not. All right, so you can see the animation. You can see it moves from top, it goes straight to bottom, it does that. So this produces the scanning effect. That's all we just wanted, the scanning effect. Okay, we're done with our animation, so we're going to start the button. So we have the upload button here, and then we have the download button, and we're gonna start with that. All right, so we'll come over here. So what we want to do is that we want to say the original this, and also the btn. Oh, sorry, that's not what I'm supposed to do. We want to add also the preview wrapper.btn. And what I want to state here is that since we only have one btn class, we can simply just use btn without any need of adding all of this. But I just want to add it. I just want to let you know that you can remove this, and you can remove this and just use the btn class. All right, so for the btn, we want the for the btn, we want the position to be, we want the position to be absolute. We want the bottom to be 0. all right, we just want the bottom to be 0. So let's head over to our browser and see what it looks like. Okay, so you can see both of them comes to the bottom. Okay, so we'll come over to our VS Code again. Now another thing that I want to talk about is that here I am referring to this button and then this button. Now there's every tendency that you might have the btn button in more than one place. So in that case, this only refers to the button inside of this class here, and also inside of this place. So these are the two buttons. So in case you have another button outside of these two divs, this class, this style will not be applied to it. So I just wanted to separate it. So the next thing I'm going to do is to now define the btn class. So I'm going to say btn, and then inside the btn class, we want the width to be the width is going to be 100%, and then after the width, we're going to add the padding. Right, for the padding, let's add the padding of 10px, and then this is going to be 0 since the width is going to be 100%. all right, so after the padding, we're going to add text align. We want it to be center. Text align center. We want a border radius. We want the border radius to be inherit. We want it to inherit from the parent div or the parent container. And then we want border to be none. I want to add any border to it. We want a border to be none. We want outline also to be none. And what else do we want to do? We want the background. Let's add a background color to it. So for the background, we're going to use RGB. So for the RGB code, the RGB code is going to be 15 here, 15 for the red, and then for the green is going to be 223, and then for the blue is going to be 160. all right, so this is going to be the background color. So after the background color, we want to add the font size. So font size is going to be 16 pixels rather. We want text decoration to be none. Now this is because we will be applying the btn class on anchor tag. all right, by default anchor tag has text decoration to be aligned, so be underlined, sorry. So we want to remove that. After the text decoration, we want to add a cursor. We want to add cursor. We want the cursor to be pointer, and then after the cursor, we want the color, color of the text. We want it to be black. So we're going to select the black color here. So if I go over to our browser, all right, you can see this. You can see how this looks. All right, so I think we are arriving at something. All right, so let's head over to our VS Code. all right, so after that, what we're going to start is the icon inside of the btn. all right, so that for the image, and we'll give it a class of upload img. And so for the upload img, we just want to set the width to be about let's set it to 30 pixels. 30 pixels. Let's go to the browser and look if that makes sense or not. 30 pixels, it still look big, still looking big, so we're going to reduce that. Let's reduce it to 20 pixels. All right, I guess that looks better. That looks better. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so after this, let's refresh this. I mean, it processes. Okay, so I think that this looks better. And after this, what else do we not think? These divs are set, but we do not have this styled. The error message is not styled, and also the select this select an image is not also being styled, so we're going to look into that. So after the image upload, we're going to start the error class. So we're going to call the error class. So for the error class, we want the margin top to be about 10 pixels. We want a margin bottom to also be 10 pixels. We want to add color. We want the color to be orange red. Let's add orange red. And we want to add font weight to be about 600. And after the font weight, we want to add font size to be 14 pixels. All right, let's check it out. All right, I think that looks good. Okay, after that, the last thing we're going to style is the label class. We've not started the label. So for the label, we're going to have original label. We'll give it a class name of original label. So we're going to call it original label. Okay, so for the original label, we want to display it flex. It's going to be display flex. We want to align the item to be center. We want to justify content, also center. We want the gap to be about 10 pixels. We want a text align. Text align is going to be to the end. All right, so we want background. So the background is going to be exactly the same with this, so we can copy this background from here, from the BTN class, and then we're going to insert it right here. So the background is going to be the same color. So after the background, we want to add a cursor. The cursor is going to be pointer. And we want to add border radius. Border is going to be about 5 pixels. And then after the border radius, we're going to add padding. So the padding is going to be 10 pixels top and bottom, and then we're going to add 0 left and right. And after that, we're going to add margin bottom to be about 20 pixels. Okay, so let's head over to our browser. All right, so this is, I think this looks better now. I think we've got what we are looking for. I mean, the CSS, the styling now looks good. All right, so you can click over here and then have the dialog open. Can select an image and then open the image, but right now we do not have anything going on. No image is being loaded, and the scan effect is continuous. All right, even when we don't want it, it's still, I mean, right here doing its job. Okay, so we are done with the HTML and the CSS. So the next part of this application is to add the interactivity. Okay, that is the JavaScript aspect part of it. Alright guys, at this point, if you've not subscribed to my channel, please, I want you to hit on the subscribe button, share this video, and I want you to click on the notification bell so that you get notified whenever we post more videos. I want you to like this video. I mean, that's how you support our channel, that's how you support what we do. Alright, thank you very much for subscribing, thank you for liking the video, and thank you for hitting the notification bell. So let's head over to our VS Code and start with the interactivity. Okay, before we continue with the adding the interactivity, I just observed that the border radius that we apply to this button, I mean, it doesn't reflect. So I'm going to head over to my index.js and see why. So let's go over here and go over to the BTN class. Okay, so you can see here we define border instead of border radius. So we have border here, we have border here, none, which is incorrect. So what we're going to do is that we're going to add radius here. Okay, so if we head over to our browser, all right, so you can see that, so the border radius is being applied. All right, so let's head over back to our VS Code and then to our app.js. So here we're going to start with the interactivity. So we will start by declaring our state variables. Okay, so that's the first thing we're going to do, and we're gonna declare a few of them. So we're gonna declare we're gonna use the React hooks. So the first one is going to be selected image. So the selected image is going to hold the image that the user selected, all right, from his device. So we're going to use the setter, and we're going to say set selected image, and then we're going to use the use state hook. All right, use state, and we're going to set it to null. No initial value is not going to be anything, so it assumes that the user didn't select anything yet. All right, so after that we want to select the preview image. So we want to say preview. So when a user selects an image, we want to preview it. All right, and before we remove the background, so we want to say set preview image, and then we're going to also use the use state hook, and then we're going to set it to null also. And the next one is we're going to we're going to look at the processed image. So we will say processed image. That is the image that will be returned with empty background or with transparent background. So we're going to call the set processed image, and also we're going to use the use state hook. So to use state, and we're going to set it to null also. After that, we're going to look at the loading. When it's loading, if you look at this, you see that the loading state, let me close this up. Now the loading state is continuous, so we have to control this. All right, so we're going to call the loading state, we're going to say loading, and then we're going to say set loading. All right, and then we're going to use the use state, and we'll say false, so we'll set it to false. And after that, we add an error. You know, if you look at this, you see that we have an error message. Let me close this up. We have an error message displaying right here. We don't want it to display here, we just want it to display when there's an error. I mean, if there's no error, it should not. All right, so we have to also control this. Now the first one, let me explain this a little bit. All right, so we have this selected image. So when a user clicks on this and select an image, that's going to be the selected image. All right, and after that we have the preview image. So when a user selects an image, we want to preview the image right here, so that is going to hold our preview image. All right, so after the preview image, we're going to have processed image. Now when we submit this image and remove the background, we want to display it right here. That's going to be the processed image. Okay, so after that we have the loading state, the loading, which means when the process is going on, the process of removing the background is going on, we want this to be showing, this scanning effect, this animation to be showing. So that's going to take care of the loading. And then after that, we're going to look at the error message. So these are what we are declaring all of this for. So we're going to say error, and we want to say set error, and we're setting the error to we're going to use the use state hook, and we'll set it to an empty string. Set it to an empty string, and after that we're going to after that, what else do we have to do? Let's look at this and see if there's any other thing we need to do. Is there anything? I don't think that we have anything. Okay, so for now I think that's all we need to do. Okay, so with this setup, we are going to be rendering this UI. We're going to be doing what we call conditional rendering. All right, at first we do not want we don't want everything to be displayed. We want a preview to only be displayed when there's a preview image, and we want the processed to be displayed when there's a processed image. All right, so we're gonna head back to and also okay, before that, let's take care of some conditional rendering. All right, so let's head over here and then look at what we have. And all right, so first of all, for the error, we're going to be starting with the error. So we only want to display this error message when we have an error here. Okay, so if we do not have an error, we don't want to display it. So we're going to do some conditional rendering. So what we will do is that we want to check if there's an error. So we'll say error. So if there is an error, then we're going to display the error message. So that is what this simply means. So inside of here, I'm going to cut this off, and I'll place it inside of this place. All right, so I'm gonna save that, and inside of here, we're going to, instead of using hard-coded text, we want to display whatever the error message is. So if we head over to our browser, you can see that the error message got disappeared because the error is empty. Okay, so if we now set the error message to maybe we say please try again later or something like that. So if we head over to the browser, save it, you can see please try again later. So it will only display when there's an error. So if there's no error, we want it to be hidden. So that's just what we simply did right there. Okay, when we click on this, when we click on the label here, we want to set a preview image. We want to set the preview image, so we have to declare a function that we handle that. So what I'm trying to say is that when I click on the select image right here, and then the dialog box pops up, and I go straight to click an image and then open this image, I want to display right here. So we have to write a function that's going to handle that for us. Okay, so for the function, we're going to say let's head over here, and then below this we want to say const. We're going to declare const. We're going to say handle image upload. We're going to send it to an arrow function, and that's the arrow function. So we want to target the element. All right, the element, that's the input tag. We want to target it. So because of that, we have to add e here, and then we're going to say const file. We're going to say the file is going to we're going to assign it to e.target. all right, the files. So all right, so this is what we're going to do, and then we have to check if there's a file selected. All right, we have to check. So we're going to say if file, if a user selected an image, all right, if file. So we want to set the selected image. We want to set the selected image to the file. All right, so that's going to be the selected image, and we want to set the preview image, the preview, to be URL. We're going to call the URL object, and then call the create object URL, and then we're going to pass the file to it. All right, so after that we want to set the process. We just want the processed image. We want to say set processed image. The process image is still going to be null. That's just what we want to do. And we also want to set the error. Want the error to still be null. Okay, so this is not going to work until we are able to add an event listener to the tag. So what we're going to do here is that we'll come right after this, and we're going to say on change we want to handle image upload. All right, so we want to say handle image upload. Okay, now for us to be able to view this image, what's going on? For us to be able to view this image right here, where we're gonna view, we want the image to display here. All right, that's gonna be for the original image wrapper. So right in this original image wrapper, then we're gonna set this to the preview image. We want to set this source to preview. So we want to say here, we want to say preview image. All right, so that's going to be the preview image. So we save that, and we're going to head over to our browser. We're going to refresh this, and then I'm going straight and select an image. So I'm going to select this one, the first one, and then let's see. All right, boom. So you can see that, but we have something loading. We have loading right there, so we're going to remove this loading. Where is it? Okay, right here. We're going to remove this loading. Okay, so you can see we have this image with the scanning effect. I'm going to refresh this. Okay, so the loading is out, so I can go back here, select an image, and then I will come right. Okay, it's coming up, so come right here, and I will select this image, and then boom. So you see that, so we've been able to achieve this. So the next thing we're going to do is that we want to have some conditional rendering, but before then we want, when we click on the upload image, all right, when we click on the upload image, we want to send an API request, and we will display the response here, right over here. Okay, we're going to display the response right over here. Then when we are done with that, we're going to then have the conditional rendering. So let's get to that. Oh, okay, before then, this animation, I want to stop it. So I want it to only come up when it is needed. So what we're going to do, this is the loading state. I mean, this is not loading, but we have to change it. I know it's not currently in the loading state, so we have to look for the loading class, where you see it located. Okay, we have it right here. This is it. So we have to check if loading is set to true or not. So we have to say loading. So if it is loading, then that is the only time we'd want to display this. So I'm going to cut this and then paste it right inside of here. So if I go back to my browser, and all right, so you see it disappears. Okay, so the API we're going to be using is the remove.bg. all right, yeah, let me open this browser, remove.bg. so this is the API we're going to be using. All right, what this site does is that when you click here and upload an image, it's going to remove the background of the image. All right, so this is the API we're going to be using. So what we need to do is to sign up with this website. Sign up, and then go straight to your dashboard. If I go to my dashboard here, all right, you can see my dashboard right here, and you can click on this to create an API key, but then you have to name your API key. Okay, So in my case, I already created an API key which I call the React app, right? I call it the React app. So you can create your API key, and we're going to be using it for this project. All right, so I'm going to head back to our application. All right, so what I'm going to do now is that in order to store the API, I'm not going to I'm not going to save the API, right? Just right inside here, I'm going to save it inside an environment variable. So what I'm going to do is go straight to the root folder right here, and I'm going to create a file. I'll call it .env. all right, so inside .env file, I'm going to write React app underscore remove underscore bg underscore API underscore key, and I'm gonna set it to my API key. So I already have my API key. So if you have yours, you can paste your API key right inside of here. So I'm not gonna be expressing my API key. All right, so so I'm gonna pause the video, input my API key, and I'm gonna close it up. But just put your API key. That's gonna be all right. So I am done with copying my API key to to the environment variable. So what we're going to do is that we're going to define a function that we handle the API request. So we're going to assign it to one of the declare variable. We're going to call it remove background. So it's going to be remove background. That's going to be the name of the function, and it's going to be an async function. All right, and we're not going to have any parameter right here. So we're going to say this is going to equal to an async function, and inside of our async function, we want to check first that if there's a selected image. All right, we don't want to pass an empty image or an empty field to the API. So we want to ensure that the user actually selected an image. All right, so we have a selected image state, so we're going to use it to check that. So we want to say if the user does not select any image, or if selected image, all right, we want to return, just want to return. So what this does is, when a function hits the return keyword, the function terminates. That's what happens here. So if the user, or if no image is selected, we want to return, we want to terminate the function. Else, if there's an image selected, so first thing we want to do is that we want to set the loading. We want to set the loading to true. So we want it to start loading. All right. So when it start loading, we want to set the error to be none in case the error was previously set to something. So we want to send it to an empty string, and also we want to set the processed image. We also want to set it to null. So what happened is that if we already have a processed image, probably a previously processed image, and we click on this button, we want to remove that. We want to set that to null, so that the value of the new image will be set to the processed image. All right, and also it's going to hide this div until when there's a response. All right, so let's go back to our function. All right, so after this, what we're simply going to do is we're going to get a form data. So we're going to say form data, and we're going to set the form data to equal to new form data, and after that, I will want to say form data dot append. So what are we going to append? We want to say the image size, the image file. So the image file is going to be our selected image. All right, so this is the reason why we want to return, if we want to terminate the function if no image is selected, because the image file is going to be our selected image. All right, so after that, this should be a lowercase, not an uppercase. So after that, we want to say form data data.append. What else do we want to append? We want to append the size, right? We want the size to be auto, right? We want to set the size to be auto. Okay, so we're gonna use the try and the catch block. So we want to say catch, and here we want to pass error, and we want to have this. So inside of the try and catch, we will, inside the try, we're gonna try, inside here we're gonna try to remove the background, but in case for any reason there's an error, we want to catch that error. All right, we don't want it to break our application. So first of all, we want to say const response, and we're gonna set our response to await await, and then we're gonna call the I think there's a mistake. Yeah, we want to call it as just the post, but we have not installed this, so we have to install it. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to we have to install this package. I'm gonna install this post. Oh man, this is not giving me what I want. But let's install the package. I'm gonna comment this out, and I will come right here below here. This is where we have our this thing running, our server running. So I'm gonna open another terminal. I'm gonna open a second terminal, and then inside the terminal I want to say npm install. Alright, so this is gonna take a while to install. Okay, so this is installed. Yeah, this is installed, so we can now use it in our project. So I'm going to come down right here. Let me bring this down a little bit. So we go over to here, and I'm gonna comment this out. So I'm gonna say await, and then I'll call the as a post. But let me import this class. Okay, so yeah, here it is. All right, so I'm gonna call the just.post. So I'm gonna say the post, and inside of here I'm going to get the URL. So you can see right here, the first one is the URL and then the data. So I'm going to call the HTTPS, and then I'll pass API dot remove the bg /v1. That's going to be the version 1 / remove bg. All right, so after that I'm going to add my comma. Now you know what, let me just bring this right down. Let me bring it down here, this into here, and then after this comma, bring this down here. So after this we're going to have that we now pass our form data. All right, okay, so format this a little bit. Okay, so after our form data, we're going to pass an object, and let me format this. I just want it to look good. So inside of the curly braces we're gonna pass the headers. So for the headers we're going to first of all pass the X API key. So this is going to be the API key. So for the API key, we're going to get it from our env file. So from the env file we're going to call the process dot.env dot, and then we call that react underscore app underscore remove underscore bg underscore API underscore key. All right, so after that we're going to say content. That's going to be content type. Yeah, content type right here. So for the content type is going to be multi-part form data. Okay, so after that we're going to come out of here and we're going to see the response type right here. So the response type is going to be the blog. Okay, so after this we're going to come out of this post. Remember, these are parameters to these are arguments to the post function. So we're going to come out of the post function, and then we're going to say, because here we are making API request, and then we are storing the response to this response variable here. So after this, what we're going to do now is, to get whatever response that will be available in the variable. All right, so we will say const img, that's going to be the image URL. So the image URL is going to be url.create object, and we're going to say response. So we're looking into this response and we want to get the data. All right, we want to get response and then the data. But first of all, I think we will have to console log the response. All right, let me comment this out. So after making this request, let's console. We want to look into console log response. All right, so console log response, and that's the response right here. So we want to console log it. So let's head over to our browser, and then I'm going to inspect this page. All right, I'm going to inspect this page, but before we do that, we have to add event listener to this upload button. So what we're going to do is that we're going to come down. We call this function, what did we call this function? Called it remove background. So we're going to copy this function, the function name right here, remove background. I'm going to copy it, and then we're going to look for the upload btn. We have, okay, right here, upload image. So inside of here we want to add on click. Event on click, no, not a composition, on click. So on click we want to run this function. All right, that is the remove background. So we want to run this function, remove background function. Wait, I hope this is correct. Let me see. Remove on click, remove background. Okay, on click. So we will head over to our browser, and then we'll go over to the console. So here I'm going to select an image, and inside of here I'm going to the first image, and then I'm going to open it, and so it's going to display. So what I'm going to do is to click on this, and so you can see the loading states. It's the loading state here. It's working. So we are waiting for a response. Let's see what the response looks like. Okay. Okay, we have an error that says API that remove.pg. All right. I think what we're going to do now is that we're going to restart our variable, our server. After adding the env file, I think we need to restart the server so that the env file can be loaded. All right, so I will go straight here. I'm gonna open the server here. That's this right here. So I'm going to control C. Alright, gonna go right there and I'll control C, and I will say yes because I want to stop the server and then I want to start the server again. Okay, so let's starting up the development server. And let me mention that I also added .0 here, so you can update that in your project. Okay, so we're still waiting for the development server to be up, and it's still loading. Let's hang up for a while and wait for the development server to load up. Okay, I think it's starting now. The dev server is starting. Okay, all right, so it's loading now. Okay, so we have it loaded, and then I'm going to close this because we already have it here open. All right, so we wanted to see what the response would be, so we'll go straight to here, and I'm going to select an image. I'm going to select the first one right here, and then I'm going to open it, and I want to upload the image. Okay, it's calling, and let's see what the response that we are going to get. All right, so the problem was restarting our server. So we have here, we can see we have data, we have the status to be okay, we have the status text to be set to no, we have the headers, and all right, and so we are going to, this is what we're going to get. We have the data right here, so we are interested in this data, and we can also say if the status is okay, if response.status is okay, and we can do whatever we want to do. All right, so here we're going to focus on the data. So you can see we have the data, we have the type, which is image.png, and then we have the size, and then we have all right, so this is all we have here. So we're going to come back to our project, and inside of here we can say if, or before that, let me close up, and I want to close this. Okay, so here we can say if response dot status is equal to is okay. All right, we can do this to check if the status is okay, and then let me check that again. Okay, status is 200. Sorry, not okay. If the status is equal to 200, that means everything is okay. Okay, so if it is okay, then we can move this over inside of here, and we can comment this out. So we want to say that after the status is okay, so we now want to create an image URL. All right, so having gotten this, now we want to set the processed image, you know, to this image URL, to the image that we got, the response we got. So we want to say set processed image, you know, to the image URL. All right, so after that, what we're going to do is that we're going to set loading equal to false. So our loading is going to be equal to false. So we're going to say set loading is equal to false, because we don't want the loading to we don't want it to keep loading. So immediately we receive a response, we want it to stop. All right, so after this, okay, I wrote this, but I'm going to remove it, or let me leave it. So I'll come down right here. So what I'm going to say is if there's an error, right, if there's an error, so the first thing you're going to do is to stop the loading, because the loading states we keep being true, but here we want to set it to false so that the loading will stop. And then the second thing we're going to do after that is that we want to set the error. All right, the error. So we want to set error, and here we want to say, we want to say, we can say image processing. That is not correct. Image processing failed, so we can say please try again. All right, so and then we can console log the the error. So this is all we're going to have. I think at this point we are done with the image. So what we simply did here was to get a response and then set the processed image. But now if we test it out, it's not going to work because we have one more thing to do. What we need to do now is to come to the preview image here at this place. You can see preview image img wrapper, the alt of processed. So we're going to set this to processed image. So we can say processed is that correct? Processed image. So this is going to be the processed image. All right, let's go back and test our application and see. I'm going to refresh this so that the error message can disappear, and then I'm going to select an image. Still going to select the first image. All right, select the first image right here, and then I'm going to click on open, and it's loaded. So I'm going to upload the image. So you see the scanning effect, or the loading state. Oh wow. So here is the response. You can see the image right here. So you can see this has a background, but this does not have any background. But we still have one more thing to do. The download image, we cannot be able to download. If I click on this download image, let me see, something is downloaded. Let me see what downloaded. Yeah, it's downloading the HTML, downloading the download HTML. So because it's empty, that's why this is happening. So we're not downloading this image. What we have to do now is to make sure that we attach this image URL to the download button so that we can be able to download it whenever we click on this button. So what we're going to do is we'll come right to the download right here. So here, the download attribute. So we're going to set the download attribute to the processed image. All right, so we're going to set it to processed image. So processed, did I spell that correctly? Processed image. Oh wow, so that's correct. All right, so with this we can be able to download the image. But what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to refresh the application, and I'm going to select another image. So in this case, I'm going to select a different image. Maybe I'm going to select this image, and I'm going to open it right here. Oh yeah, we have a different image. So I'm going to click on the upload image, and all right, so we have this image. So you can see the background is removed, but the last thing we need to test is the download image. So I'm going to click on the download image, and then all right, do we have the image downloaded? Let's see. I think we are not getting the correct thing right here. We are still getting the .html stuff. So I'm going to refresh this again, and let me see what the problem is. Okay, let's go back to VS Code and see why. All right, so this is the h attribute here, the href attribute. So we need to change this to processed image. All right, so this is what we needed to do. All right, so we set it to processed image. Okay guys, so I think this will be the last functionality that we're going to be testing now. All right, so let's refresh this page. I will go right here again and select an image, and I'm going to select, all right, let me select this. Which one should I select now? All right, let me select this guy. and then I'll open it right here. It's loaded, and then I am going to click on the upload img, upload image. All right, very good, we have it right here. Yeah, so I'm going to click on the download img. So we have it downloaded right here. I'm going to check it. All right, so I'm going to open the image. Just click on open here. Let's check it out and see what we downloaded. Okay, so you can see we have an image. It's a PNG file with the background removed. All right, so guys, this is basically how you can be able to build a project that removes the background in React. But we have one more thing to do, and the last thing we need to do is conditional rendering. So we don't want to display everything at the same time. We want to display only the select image when the page is loaded, and when we select an image, we want to display this, and we want to display the preview image. And when we click on upload, we want the upload button to disappear, because we don't want the user to keep uploading the same image when the image is already processed. So, and then this processed a wrapper, we don't want to show it until there's a response. All right, if there's no response, it's not going to be shown. So this is where we are going to do the work. So the first one we're going to be targeting is the original img. So let's go back and do the conditional rendering. All right, so we're going to be starting with the, let me see. Okay, so we're going to be starting with this. All right, so I'm going to minimize. I'm going to close this up. From here to here, that is where we're going to be targeting. So what we're going to do is that we're going to check if there's a preview image. All right, because we don't want to preview anything yet. We don't want to show this at all until there's a preview image. So what we're simply going to do is that we're going to check if there's a preview image. Then if there's preview image, we can now show this. All right, so what we're simply going to do, I'm going to add this open close bracket. So I'm going to copy the whole div, the whole of this div. I will move it up until here. Yeah, I think it's okay here. So this means if there's no preview image, whatever that is inside of here is not going to show until there's a preview image. So I'm going to go back to the application, and I can refresh. You see that disappears. All right, it disappears because there's no preview image yet. So if I go right here and select an image, all right, this is a selected image, so select it. So you see it previews, it comes up right here. All right, so that's the first thing we're going to do. So and then the second thing second conditional rendering that I'm going to check is the, let's see, have we done the loading? Okay, I think we've done the loading right here. Okay, we've done the loading. So the next one we're going to check is the button. So the button, we want to check, there are two things we're going to check. There are two conditions that we're going to hide the button. The first one is when it is loading. So when this is loading, we want to hide the button. That's the first one. And also when there is no preview image, when there is no processed image. All right, or sorry, when there is a processed image. So if there is if the loading is active, we want to hide this. That's the first one. And then secondly, if there's a processed image, we also want to hide this. So that means we will only show the upload button if there is no loading state, and also there is no processed image. Okay, so that's the only time we're going to show the button. So for the button, what we're going to say here is that we want to say that if there's no loading, if loading is false and processed image, and if not loading and not processed image, then we can be able to show the button. All right, wait, what is this? Let me scroll right to that place. Okay, so if none of these, then we can show the button. So we can grab this button and then bring it right in between here. All right, so, and I'm going to, let's test it out so that you understand what I mean. Okay, so right here I'm going to select an image again and open this. Okay, so we have here, so when we click on this button, you see it disappears. All right, because there's loading, you know, that's why it disappears. So we're waiting for a response, waiting for the response, waiting for the response, waiting. All right, so we now have the response, and also the upload button is no longer here. Now the reason is because we don't want the user to keep sending requests with the same image. All right, with this particular image, I mean, he can still select the same image, but we have to reselect it. That's the functionality. All right, that's what we just achieved with that. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is to work on this one, on the preview image. Okay, so for the preview image, we want to check if there's a preview image first, and this is where we check for the preview image right here. Okay, we have the preview wrapper, right here, and that is this. Okay, so I'm going to do this. So what we're going to do here, we want to check if there's processed image. So we want to say processed. So we're checking if there's processed image. So if there's processed image, then that is when we're going to show this div. Alright, but if not, if there's no processed image, then we're not showing it. Okay, so if I go back to this, okay, what is, okay, if I go back to this and if I refresh, all right, you see we only have this select an image. All right, so I think we've come to the end of this tutorial, but we have to test it finally. Okay, so I'm going to refresh this once more, and then I'm going to click on the select. So I go straight to select, and then I selected an image. Let me select this guy, and then I open the image. All right, so you see that because there's a preview image, that's the reason why this div shows up with this button. So I want to upload the image, so it's processing. I'm waiting for it to finish processing. Yeah, so we have it right here. Okay, so you see how it works. So if there is preview image, show this. If there is processed image, then you have to show this. Okay, now if we go back to select another image or reselect same image and open it up, let's see what happens. Did that work? I think we need to look into that one. We need to look into it. All right, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to select a different image. Let me select this one and I'll open it up. Okay, that works. That works very fine. So I'm going to upload this one again, and let's see what happens. Okay, it works. Now I'm going to reselect the same image, because what happened now should happen even if it's an image. So I'm going to select this, and I'm going to select the same image, and I'm going to open it up. We're having the same image, and I'm wondering why now. Okay, let me select this again. I'm going to select the same image, and then I'm going to open it right there. Nothing changed. It should change. Then there's something wrong with our code. We have to check it out. Now let me select a different image and see what happens. Oh, when I select a different image, okay, I mean, I think that makes sense. So if you're selecting the same image, I mean, it doesn't change. It stays, because I mean, the same image, so there's no point. But if you're selecting a different image, then it changes. I mean, it's a nice one. All right, guys, so we have come to the end of this tutorial. Please remember, if you've not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. If you have not hit this notification bell. Please do so that you get notified, be the first to get notified when we upload new videos. This is the only way you can support us for what we do. All right, so we're gonna do a quick recap for what we did today. A very quick recap. I mean, it was easy. We started first of all with our HTML tag, and so I mean, we included here, this is a label, and with this label we can be able to select an image, and this label has an input tag that is tied to it. So when you click on this input tag, it opens a dialog box for you. So when you open this, so we have a div to the left which previews whatever image that you have, and then what is responsible for this is this function handle image upload. All right, so this creates a simple URL, image URL that can be displayed, and it is assigned to the preview image, and then that previews it to the browser. All right, and after that we have a column to processed image. So when we receive a response from the API, we just use this div to process, to show the image that is being received from the API. All right, so and we used the use hook, the use state hook, and then we're able to sign error loading. So the error is the error state, we use the error state to display error messages. All right, that reminds me, we didn't show any scenario where the error message have to come to play. So what I'm simply going to do, since I'm making an API request, I'm simply going to disconnect my internet. All right, I'm going to disconnect the internet. Okay, so my internet is disconnected. All right, now we are going to make a request, and then we're going to see what's going to happen. So I'm going to come over here, I will refresh my application. Now I do not have my internet intact, so I will select this, and then I'll come over here and select an image, select this one, and then I'm going to open it right there. All right, so I'm going to upload the image. So we have an error, and it says here image processing failed, please try again. So we have this network error. So it's a network error, net error, because there's no network. I can make a request to the API because of, you can see that error, internet disconnected. So you can see the error message here, and then if I click this again, the same error message appears. Now because there is no processed image, that is why you cannot see the image, the processed image to the right. Okay guys, so we've come to the end of this tutorial. I believe that you've learned a lot. Please, if you have any question, I want you to put it in the comment section below. I'm going to provide the asset that we use for this project in the video description. Alright guys, thank you for staying with me to the end of the video, and do have a good day. Bye bye.